we'll see how much we can squeeze in. So we're going to go ahead and definitely just kind of close out, put a wrap on the Pestilence event. Just kind of I'm real kind of curious to see what Dart's take is, opinions about the whole thing. And we'll kind of start off with that. Kind of forgot the time, but we'll jump into the blog post, because the blog post was a lot of information. It was like kind of one of those blog posts that kind of throws you out with a lot of events going on, kind of sidetracked you from the prior event that just wrapped up. So yeah, we'll get into it here. So what's up, Darth? How you doing?
You're doing very well. Thanks, Mookie. Good morning.
Morning. All right. So yeah, let's get right into the Pestilence events as I set up the screen here. So right off the bat, I guess I don't even know how to kind of phase the question to you, but I guess it's just, other than how do you feel about it all wrapping up? I mean, what's your final impression about the event?
Okay, well, I came up with a few things when we were talking about this earlier this week. We decided we were going to talk about this a little bit, and I made a short list of pros and a short list of cons, and then I made a list of things looking to the future. So it's not real long. So like pros, I had a lot of fun. This was a really, really fun game event for me. As frustrating as it was and the time suck that it was, man, I had a lot of fun doing it. And I had a lot of fun because it was challenging. And it was challenging for every single player out there because you got to set your own challenge level. I said it before, if you weren't making yourself crazy, begging for the right RNG, then you're not maximizing the score that your roster could provide. That's the kind of event this was. It wanted you to grind your face off on it to do the best you could. Another pro, legendary available for all kinds of guys. Legendary available for guys that don't have web warriors at all or didn't have dark hunters at all, as long as they could get pretty good on the first 4 scourge nodes of level 8. Even if you didn't have them, you could unlock it on the first day. You couldn't get 1,000,000 points. At least I couldn't. But you could get over the 500,000. You could get enough to get unlocked by the end without having any of the required characters. The other thing that was really a pro that's kind of fleeting in this game for me is that feeling of accomplishment. Like, there are other games that I've played which feeds your nerddom, but like when you accomplish something, when you finish something that's really challenging, you get this sense of accomplishment. As fleeting and as superficial as it may be, it gives you those good feelings, and I got that when I completed my best run. So I hadn't received that from this game in a long time. So those were the pros. Those were the good things about this event. What did you like about this event, Mookie?
I think that part right there that you just hit on, that sense of accomplishment, was the biggest thing, and take away the positivity that really it's almost like the satisfaction of DD or completing like a dark dimension without taking weeks and months. You got to kind of do it within that day that you work on the event, so you still got that sense of accomplishment, and that's the biggest takeaway, excitement that I had. And I guess even on the negative side, like whenever if my run didn't go well, like it was basically a memorable thing to know, like, okay, I got to regroup, I got to re-strategize, I got to go ahead and figure out like more scourge, less scourge, to figure out your points. So overall, I mean, I like it for the same aspects that you talked about. Trying to think if there was anything else as far as positivities behind it. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest thing, is the memorable feeling of completing that run with your high score and grinding it out. So I guess I'll start off on the negative side for my part. For me, I guess it's just the obvious. It's probably the reward rankings as far as how it was and how that all kind of unfolded. Um, I'm pulling it up right now, just kind of looking into the leaderboard stuff, and it's not so much as far as like, we know there's going to be cheaters within the game, but I think it's just like the unknown cheating aspects of stuff that just kind of leaves you kind of worry, right? And it's just like, I think that's kind of where it was, but that was the in moment negative feeling, which is not knowing like, okay, if my ranking's really going to be there, as much as I'm grinding, is someone else going to kind of cheat their way up to it and kind of go unnoticed. But it was just more the aspect of them being unprepared as far as releasing that whole. They extended it out 4 more days from the original time period that they had for this event to roll out, and just the grindiness that we put into it, and then having to wait for the actual rewards to come out is kind of where it left a sour taste in my mind. I don't know. How did you feel on the negative side of things?
So that was the first thing on my con list was the leaderboard. And I said it's good and it's bad. It's good because the leaderboard pushed me to try even harder for that first part, so that I got that feeling of accomplishment when I did it. Because, I mean, I didn't achieve my goal. I did not get top 500. So there was a sense of sadness and real actual like deflation on that day when I realized I wasn't going to do it and I wasn't going to get the top 500. But the fact is that now when I look across the landscape and I look across my arena, I realize that getting that a 6-star Morgan Le Fay was actually a rarity. There's not a bunch of guys even in my arena that I've seen at the top that have a 6-star yet.
Mhm.
And that's because something else that sucks about this. With the leaderboard comes 500 people get a 7-star, and that's it. It doesn't matter how much money you spend on your web warriors. It doesn't matter how big you brought your dark hunters. 500 people. That's it. Like, that's how it's going to go. And that encourages cheating, which I don't like so much. Because like you said, they went through and they did a good job on the leaderboard of getting everything that was obvious out of there. The thing is I still believe that there are guys who are smart enough to not push their score so far that it doesn't look like a reasonable thing that they got as high as they got, and they'll probably never get caught.
Yeah, and I know the philosopher kind of leaked out some information about the forums or blog posts somewhere that people are kind of sharing that information out there as far as using that APK stuff. So I guess on the other hand, I kind of look at it as, if anything, maybe it kind of exposes that. I mean, as far as the event, if you want to take a positive behind it, it's like, well, at least, some people are now kind of, the light's being shunned a little bit. And especially when you look at it, you got the trolls, but then you got the others that are kind of a little bit kind of questionable. And then maybe in some ways that's kind of where they're, getting exposed on that regard. But kind of going back into how the rewards got leaked out, then it became a situation where they kind of rewarded us based on our original rankings before they weeded out the cheaters. And then it kind of led into questions like, well, did the cheaters still get, rewards, or are they not even getting banned? So the whole uncertainty of all of that just kind of casts a weird kind of dark cloud. But for me, I don't dive that much into. Oh, I don't dive that much into the whole aspect of the cheating. Like I'm competitive, but I guess I kind of have a realistic thing that in the end, it's a game for me, and I'm not gonna let it take away from the fun that I have. The reason why I joined the game is just to have fun, to unwind, to go ahead and just kind of get out of it. So the little details of that, I try not to let it bother me, but I can. That's for me, but I understand. Like for you, like when you're jumping, like you have a higher goal than me, and you're going up to 500 or more. I'm sure those that are looking into the rankings trying to get to the top 100, top 50, that's where it kind of hits them a little bit sour when they know that people are kind of cheating in that regard. So I don't know. I don't know. Any other final thoughts on that?
The only negative thing was the only other negative things is I thought that it was a little bit of an RNG shit show. But that's with the web warriors being the thing. But that also lets you push further than you could have before because RNG can really hold your hand through nodes. It can help you as much as it can kill you. So that was the thing about, I didn't like that it was so RNG heavy, but I don't know if my score would have been so well if the main teams you had to have weren't so RNG heavy. If there wasn't a chance to dodge at the beginning of node 5 and 10, if there wasn't a chance to dodge all of these extra times because of the team you have in there. Like I know that my last run I probably completed better than I should have because on node 5 and 10, the ones I kept had superior RNG. Like I think on my last run on node 10, I only had to go back in and kill one character with my remaining web warriors. So it was all fairly simple. But it was a time suck for me, man. I want to tell you that in the last 3 days of the event, I probably spent 4 hours a day on Scourge alone. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was, and I say, it's not like I was just sitting there looking at my phone, hammering my phone. That's a lot of me sitting here in front of my television or with my kids, restarting Node 5 without really doing anything but restarting Node 5 100 times.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of a time suck, but it wasn't too bad. I overall, I give it an A, man. I still, for all the bad things, I love the event and I love the things like that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I guess what I would kind of conclude it with is like, is there anything else that you would want the event to add to it? And to kind of lead off of that, like my thoughts behind that question is more like, I would think that they should add like some additional bonus points, maybe based on time execution. And obviously they messed up on the bonus points as far as like you completing a node one shotting it with one team versus you bringing in, like I don't say like a trash team, but basically like you bring in another team to kind of leave off 1-2 enemies and then complete that match and earn a bonus off of match completion versus the overall efficiency of one team, one, one node type of thing. So I think the other thing I was gonna add about the time run is that I think obviously when we look at this leaderboard, you can kind of see the points inflating, right, and how they're just kind of maximizing that APK settings. But part of it, I think the reason why they're cheating is because they want to get through it quick. You're talking about yourself grinding 4 hours a day off of it, right? And then you got some other cheaters
Right.
who are using the APK that are getting through within 10 minutes or less. So if you see some outrageous time bonuses as well, to me that kind of exposes it, So I don't know. That's just kind of my theory. Just kind of looking into different ways of bonus points on the efficiency side of things, and but at the same point, it kind of also kind of exposes the next hand level of cheaters. Because I remember on the Dark Dimension completions on those time runs, some people were completing them in like 5 minutes or less, and it was pretty obvious at the time that they're kind of catching some cheaters off of those leaderboards. So it's just a thought. But I don't know. Did you have any ideas as far as what they can add to make it better?
I don't know about adding anything. The leaderboard is the only real problem for me. That's the thing that needs to get changed or go. They need to do something with the rewards payout and how it happens.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But I think this mode taught us a few things as I look to the future of the game, because we're gonna have more scourges all year long. That's gonna be our horseman unlocks. So we're gonna have to do this 3 more times at least. So, but looking at that, it looks like the game is changing moving forward. It used to be one raid team and one arena team, and a lot of times they were the same. So you could have 10 characters built to max, and you could max your basic rewards besides your war rewards. But then they expanded it a little bit, and they went to you need 5 raid teams and 1 arena team. And a lot of those characters mixed too, so about 35 characters. And now they're telling you with tower mode, with Crucible, with war, with the way the raids go, you also need an arena team. They're showing you that you need a wider roster to fully play all of the modes of this game. You're not going to get away with just raid teams and an arena team anymore, and be able to have success in all game modes. Not only are there multiple teams required to place high in the event, like this one you had Web Warriors and Dark Hunters to place high, but they're not required to unlock just to place high. But there's that, and then there's the way that they do the nodes. So this time we had a hero node, a villain node, a global node, and a cosmic or section. Excuse me, two nodes apiece for all 4 of those sections. And people saw the deficiencies in their roster and decided what they need to do. And what that part showed me is that there are some tunes that are far more important than we used to think. There's a lot of characters that I brought out of the dead or used in a different way during this event that really helped me. And I think that their value moving forward has been increased because of the need for a wide roster. So I made it's a 15 or 16 tune list, and I'm just going to go over it real quick. But it's mostly, I'll tell you, it's mostly people that manipulate speed bar, and that's kind of it. Like the speed is king. And so we found out we were pushing hard that you might need to go out and kill Lady Deathstrike before she goes, or you need to cripple that Silver Surfer before he goes. And those are very fast tunes, and there's very few ways to get ahead of them and to kill them in time. So characters like Emma, Hela, Cable, Hawkeye, Nick Fury, the Dad Bros, Zemo, Lady Deathstrike, Shang-Chi, Captain Sam, Heartless. All of those characters have turns or passives that manipulate speed bar. And a combination of those tunes can get you ahead of a tune like Lady Deathstrike or Silver Surfer and still have the power to kill her or him before they can really mess up your run and your try at that node. Then there's other tunes like T'Challa, Jubilee, and Beast. T'Challa's amazing because he's fast, he has blind on his turn 1, and he takes ability energy if he lands that blind. And it being the RNG restart show that it is, if you don't land the blind the first time, just restart it and go with T'Challa again until he will. That can really, that personally for me, like helped me wrap nodes up. Like if I brought him in to end node 1 so that my Web Warriors were set for node 5, he would negate damage from turn 1 from one of their bigger characters and just make life easier for that node. And Jubilee and Beast, it's a surprise punch for me in that, because Jubilee's passive makes Beast go more, and when Beast goes, Jubilee always assists if it's just those two. And when she assists, she puts a blind out there. And that's another way to get a character like Lady Deathstrike just out of your way so that she's still going, but she's not killing anybody, she's not hitting anybody. Surfer, AI controlled Surfer, blind on Surfer just messes him up for 2 turns. And then there were 3 more tunes: Red Guardian, Drax, and Bishop, and they're on there because they're pre-taunting tanks. And with the way this went out, you a lot of times just needed to negate the damage from a Captain Marvel or somebody first turn to make your team go. So that was the list of characters that I didn't like. Some of them are meta right now, like Doctor Strange, Heartless, but most of them are older characters that people may not be building a bunch anymore, especially like Hawkeye and Nick Fury and Hela and those tunes in particular, and Cable. But Hawkeye was invaluable for me because he goes early and he does a group turn meter rewind and cleanse. So it made me theorycraft a lot more with speed and things like that at the end of it, and made me look to my roster and be like, well, if I want to be successful the next time, I might need to think about putting some of these tunes up a little bit higher so that they can survive a little more. And some of them don't even necessarily need to survive. Cable doesn't need to go up super high because all he does is remove turn bar at the beginning of the match. And if he gets to his special, he removes more. I guess it's just me enforcing that speed was king on this, and that's what helped me do as well as I did, was my use of those particular characters.
No, that's a good breakdown. You make me want to segue into something here, but I don't know. Do you have anything else on your notes that you want to?
That was it. That was my finishing notes.
Yeah, no, that's a great take. I mean, you kind of woke me as far as just. Well, let me just jump right into it. I mean, it's a segue that you have me thinking about. It's actually right over here into what you just said. You talked about what you saw about them wanting us to build wider rosters, and then how those key traits there are going to kind of play into that than some of those old characters. But like one of the blog posts that came out on Friday, they actually talked about this new Ruble Blitz, and they talked about the first team up that's going to give you some extra bonus points. It's going to be the Hydra team. And it's one of the teams that actually has some sneaky speed behind them too, as well, with the sniper giving some speed bonus to the overall Hydra squad and so forth. So they're, and I don't play them too much, but I know that they have that benefit. It's just that, their health is just pretty low and all that kind of stuff. So they're not a true hard team. But this is kind of
Right.
into everything you're talking about. Like, it's crazy. So they talked about this event. I think it's going to be, it says every Thursday and Friday, or I guess it comes out on Thursday, ends Friday. But this is replacing the second character blitz that used to be in the back end of the week. And what they're focusing on is you focusing on certain teams that are going to give you bonus points and get that type of ranking. So that's exactly what came right into my mind when you just kind of concluded that thought. So that is what's coming up in the horizon, to kind of double down to your point. But I'm going to jump right into the blog post. So, but I guess if you look into your blog post notes, what's my question for you? What's the most exciting thing that you heard or read on the blog post that gets you ready?
You know what I'm most excited about. Cosmic Crucible. I've been waiting for months for Cosmic Crucible.
There we are. I know. I knew that was it. And what's interesting off of it, just to kind of, hit and put your date on the calendar, it's going to start on May 11th. So at least now we got a date. They're still kind of tinkering about what's going to come, but I guess that's what they said is going to be on Friday. This next coming Friday is going to have more details as far as what the event details are all going to be. But you and I talked about it in previous shows. And I'll pull it up right here because I made a note of it. It was on one of the blog posts here on the 2022 preview. Yeah, and this is where they're talking about the Pestilence Events, which was funny. I just looking at all this right here. It's like, oh, I remember just doing this. But yeah, here it is. I mean, this is kind of where they're talking about the event, in which it is going to be a tournament style, one player versus one player. But again, the details, I'm not going to go too much into it, but I'm just kind of showing you or reminding myself as far as on what we're looking into. So it kind of goes into the whole speed factor. So when you were kind of concluding about on that thought, that made me think about Cosmic Crucible and those kind of characters that you got to have ready to be able to outspeed whatever defense setup that individual is doing against you. So do you think they're going to, part of the blog post though, is that they're also talking about a new specific team within the Cosmic Crucible trade, and that's the Unlimited X-Men. So is that your second point of excitement? What's your second excitement part of the blog post?
You know, I think the second most excited thing I'm gonna do is that there will never be another Is Gambit coming to the game video. That is the most exciting part. I can watch a ton of video now, and I can know without a doubt that he'll talk about Gambit because he's in the game, but it won't be some bullshit theory about why he's the next character to drop.
Yeah, yeah, no, there he is.
Excuse me. It was just an, you know, if you've watched a ton of videos, you know, and if you've watched them long enough, you know, it's been an overarching joke on his channel, and it's a lot of fun. And he's been trolled a little bit by MSF, and I'm just glad that he's getting what he wants now, and that there will be no more speculation videos about that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because this is all we had to go by last week was that silhouette. So with the yesterday's blog post or Friday's blog post kind of been leaked, we knew that the two characters on the left was going to be that Spider Woman and Nico, and then on the blog post came out to let us know that the third one was that Phantom X.
Phantom X? Yeah.
Yeah, and the one on the right is obviously now we know it is Gambit. So when we look into the blog post here, the fifth character that's also going to be part of the new patch is going to be Dazzler. So she didn't get her silhouette, but she is going to be that fifth character. And I know the community in general are just like, man, more new characters every patch, less farmable characters every month. You know, like the ratio is just kind of not there. So that's something of concern. And that kind of was, I was going to ask you, I mean, with that, all the news coming out, what are you doing individually as far as like characters to farm or rosters? Like, what are you personally starting to prepare for? Are you still working on Dark Code? Are you starting to now look into some of the A-Force characters? Like, what's your feeling? Like, what's your priority as far as starting to farm and gear up teams?
So since I'm so excited about Cosmic Crucible, it's going to make me hold off a little bit on that A-Force team because because I'm excited about both. So I'm not going to go all out and get them all to 15 for my A-Force team, but I'll probably take them all to 14 because I'm probably going to want to take that unlimited team all the way to 15.
Yeah.
Gambit's kit looks like it's a lot of fun. Like he's got some cool tricks up his sleeve and stuff like that. I like that he's got it's not, but it is. It works out to be two basics basically. He's got a choice to use his basic or his special, and his special has no cooldowns. So he's got a lot of cool things. But I'm excited because I love War offense, and I'm sure I'm going to love this Cosmic Crucible mode, probably even more than War. Because it's an individual war basically. You're only held back by your own deficiencies.
Yeah, no, I got you. And then that's kind of the theory I'm coming in with. So like for me, I'm slowing down the pace as far as me gearing anything up these next few days before the patch rolls out, which the patch release date that I saw was going to be on May 3rd, which is Tuesday. So we kind of go into the events, and that's kind of how I start wrapping things up, just thinking about the events coming up. So May 3rd is going to be the new patch. On May 3rd is also going to be the Goblin Queen event. Okay, so then that's where we're going to finally go ahead and start working our, charts up for Madeline Pryor.
Mm-hmm.
So we got that going on Tuesday. Then, and then to the point that you make, I mean, then I guess there's this other A-Force event. I don't know if the A-Force event did it have a date. Do you remember?
I don't think so.
Yeah, oh wait, no, it's also
Oh, it
on
does
May
May
3rd.
3rd. It's a milestone event. Yeah.
Yeah, and I forgot
It's
this
a
one is
month-long
different.
milestone event.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna kind of go about my day-to-day grind, but I really like I'm at a bad deficiency with gold. Like I don't have enough gold to start upgrading characters. So that's what I'm gonna do in this down period, is just starting to get those resources coming right back up because I am going all in on that unlimited X-Men once they start, releasing them. So that way they're Cosmic Crucible ready. And what I'm wondering is that gonna be, well, I wonder this, but I know what I'm gonna do. But like, I guess the question is like, am I gonna see them on defense? The unlimited X-Men as far as like a defense opponent, or should I be putting them on as a defense opponent? So there's some theory behind that. But I kind of go back to the war setting. Is like, if you're gonna face them and you need to do a mirror match or something like that, it's best to have them on
Right.
your offensive side. So It's just
And
kind of
you better be
cool.
able to beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
So it's interesting as far as the theory crafting and what's going to happen on that. That's going to be more topics, especially come next Sunday when we do this show, because on Friday we'll have more information on the blog post. So we'll really dive into the Cosmic Crucible discussion there at that point on what our theory is going to be. But to kind of wrap up this one, so we have again, so patch coming out on Tuesday. We got a Force event coming out on Tuesday. The Goblin and Queen event on Tuesday. There's a lot's happening on Tuesday. Um, and I think that's about it. I mean, they kind of go into the whole like milestones again. There's your leaderboards. And they start. That was the only thing that kind of funny when I read into it. I'm like, man, there they go. Like they're doubling down on the leaderboard. There's no going away from it, other than them trying to figure out how to clean house. Um, that's kind of funny. I'm trying to see anything else. And here's the other interesting thing: is these stat updates. And I guess talking about Cosmic Crucible, right? You gotta have a wide roster. You're talking about speed characters. Here's one right there with Yo-Yo. They got a nice
Hmm.
health boost at 40 plus 40%.
Yeah.
So
Yo-Yo and Crystal got reasonable health boosts.
yeah, that's interesting there. But I don't know. Anything else you had on your notes about the blog post before I wrap this up?
No, I think we're coming to an interesting time. I think that this patch will be a big one because they're going to revamp the way the blitz schedule that we've been used to for years. Um, I think that a month-long event is going to be fun, grindy, and we'll be tired of it by the end.
Mhm.
But I'm excited. I think it's going to be a fun month.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, Darth. I'm actually excited within the flaws that happen within the pestilence and some of the, depending on who you're listening to or what you read out there, there was a lot of the negative sides behind it. But overall, personally, I had fun with the event. I only did about like 4 to 5 runs, but I kind of saw like, you know what, I have to kind of see where the leaderboard ranking is going to be to kind of revamp my pestilence, my scourges and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I went about the play. And I wanted to hit top 25 was my goal, but I just like once you figured out that you had to be dependent on that RNG on node 5 and 10, I just didn't have the patience for it. And that's what was funny. That wasn't my thought. I was thinking like, man, as impatient as Darth is with his characters and his gearing up, he sure is patient on that on the scorch sheet for you to take that time. And I was like, it was like we flipped roles. My impatience came in. I was like, I don't have time for this. I can't do it. And you went all in, so that was kind of funny how we flipped roles. But I totally get it. It was a game mode, so it's different. Um, yeah, so that's it. I'm about to wrap it up. I got Disney on Ice with the family here, so I got some stuff to do. I know I knew you were excited about this one. I wanted to make sure that we talked about it, Darth. I mean, I saw that blog post and I was like, man, there's a lot of stuff on the horizon that's gonna get my boy excited over here, which makes me
Juicy.
excited in return. So I'm glad that we got to chit chat about that one. I know there's the Cosmic Crucible, man. That's we'll definitely have a whole show on that one when we record again because we'll have more information on Friday. So you guys stay
Feeling it's
tuned
good.
for that. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Catch us and appreciate those that are watching our show there and stay positive. But I just don't. I try to come into this whole thing like when I see the negative tone as far as on a game mode that they try to introduce. You know, they're trying. You know, what is the stuff we complain about? It's the mundane grind of raids, blitz, all that, and then we get a new game mode, right? And then there's easily to complain about the leaderboards and stuff like that, which I could get. I understand, but in the end, it's a new game mode. Hopefully they tweak it up. You can only kind of stay positive. So that's what I'll leave it off with. Just stay positive. A lot of new stuff coming up on the horizon. So lots of things to be excited about. So y'all take care. Have a good rest of your week. And we'll see y'all next
Bye
Sunday.
bye.
Bye bye.